There is a place in the world that no amount of money can build alone, no achievement can replace, and no absence fails to cost dearly. That place is home, not the walls, not the furniture, not the address, but what pulses within every room, the love that rises early, the care that never makes it into photographs, the faith that sustains when everything feels too heavy to bear. This prayer is born from a heart that recognizes home as sacred, that understands caring for a house is caring for the soul, that knows Our Lady, the woman who most tenderly cared for a humble home in Nazareth, knows every corner of our dwelling and intercedes for it every single day. That Proverbs 14:1 is not merely an ancient word, but a living call. The wise woman builds her house. Today, as we open our eyes to another day, this prayer is an act of awareness, surrender, and renewal. May every word resonate like a good morning spoken from the heart. Good morning. Before anything else, before the first cup of coffee, before the first task, before the first noise of the day settles in, there is a moment, brief, silent, almost imperceptible. It is the moment you open your eyes, and for a fraction of a second, the world has not yet asked anything of you. The house is quiet, the light is still soft, and there is a presence, gentle, maternal, enveloping, that seems to whisper, "You are not alone in this." That moment is sacred, and it is right here in this space between sleep and day that this prayer begins. Not in a hurry, not with a list of requests, but with silent gratitude for the simple fact of having a home, a place to return to, a floor to stand on, a roof that, even if imperfect, represents shelter. Our Lady, good morning. You who rose before everyone else in Nazareth, who warmed the bread while the night had not yet ended, who tidied the home with simple hands and a heart full of faith, you know what this is. You know what it means to care for a home without anyone watching. You know what it means to keep peace within four walls when the world outside is uncertain. You know what it means to love through small gestures that carry an immense weight. And that is why I come to you today. Because home is not merely a physical place. Home is spiritual. Home is that space we carry inside our chest, that intimate territory where the most precious memories live, where the deepest fears dwell, where the truest loves reside. Home is where the masks come off, where we allow ourselves to be who we truly are. And precisely because of that, home needs care. It needs attention. It needs prayer. There is an ancient wisdom that says, "The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish tears it down with her own hands." Proverbs 14:1. Words written thousands of years ago, yet they sound as though they were written yesterday, as though they were written for this very moment, for this day that is beginning, for this home that is awakening, for this heart that is seeking strength. To build, what a powerful word. To build is not merely to raise walls. To build is to create an environment. To build is to cultivate love. To build is to choose, every single day, to sow peace instead of discord, understanding instead of judgment, presence instead of absence. To build is to wake up early when the body begs for more sleep, to smile when the heart is weary, to hold the hand of someone in need even when your own hands are trembling. And there is no woman who has ever built with more wisdom, more faith, and more love than Our Lady. Think about that for a moment. Think of Mary, young, humble, living in a small town, without extraordinary resources, without power or fame, and yet she cared for a home that changed the entire history of the world, not through grandeur, through presence, through prayer, through the daily decision to place God at the center of that sacred space that was her house. And that is exactly what this good morning invites. Not perfection, not the spotless house or the flawless routine, but the sacred intention behind every gesture, the awareness that when you care for your home, you are doing something far greater than tidying a house. You are building a sanctuary. You are shaping lives. You are planting seeds that will grow into people, into children, into partners, into all those who walk through your door and leave a little better than they arrived. Our Lady, I ask you today to look upon my home, not with the eyes that see the mess, the dust, the things that still need to be done, but with the eyes that see the love behind it all. The child who left a toy in the middle of the room because they were happy playing. The dish in the sink because there was food and there was togetherness. The unmade bed because there was rest and there was safety. Help me see my home through those eyes, because sometimes the weariness weighs heavy. Sometimes the routine dulls our sight. Sometimes we care so much for the external that we forget to tend to the internal, the environment that cannot be seen, only felt. That energy that permeates every room, that atmosphere children sense before any adult does, that quality that defines whether a house is merely a structure or whether it is truly a home. and a home is made with prayer, with a good morning spoken to God before anything else, with the awareness that we are not alone in this enormous and daily task of caring for those we love, with the certainty that Our Lady, the greatest guardian of the home who ever lived, intercedes for us, for our houses, for our families, for our hearts. So before the day begins, stop, breathe deeply, and say from the heart, Our Lady, this home is yours. Watch over it. Watch over me. There is a kind of work that never appears on any resume. It has no title, no salary, no official recognition. It does not show up in productivity reports or performance reviews. It is not celebrated at award ceremonies or mentioned in speeches. And yet, it is perhaps the most important work that exists, the work of building a home, the work of the hands that cook, clean, organize, comfort, and create, day after day, quietly, faithfully, without applause. Proverbs 14:1 speaks directly to this work. The wise woman builds her house, not the successful woman, not the perfect woman, not the woman who never makes mistakes or never feels tired, the wise woman. And wisdom, in this context, is not about intelligence or knowledge. Wisdom is about awareness. It is the capacity to understand that every small act of care carries a meaning that goes far beyond the act itself. That making a bed is not just making a bed. That preparing a meal is not just preparing a meal. That saying a kind word in the middle of an ordinary afternoon can be the thing that holds someone together when everything else feels like it is falling apart. Wisdom is understanding that the home is built in the details. Our Lady knew this deeply. In Nazareth, there were no grand gestures. There was no palace, no abundance, no extraordinary circumstances. There was a simple house, a humble family, and a woman who chose to fill that space with something that walls alone could never provide, with intentional love, with present faith, with the quiet strength of someone who trusted that what she was doing mattered, even when no one was watching. And that is the invitation of this morning, to look at your hands, those hands that have worked, that have held, that have built, and to recognize them as sacred instruments, because they are. Every time your hands prepare food for someone you love, they are building. Every time they wash, fold, arrange, and care, they are building. Every time they reach out to touch a face, to dry a tear, to hold someone close, they are building something that no storm can easily tear down. But let us be honest for a moment. There are days when those hands feel heavy, days when the weight of everything that needs to be done is greater than the energy available to do it, days when the house feels less like a sanctuary and more like a never-ending list of responsibilities, days when you give so much of yourself that by the end you look in the mirror and wonder if there is anything left for you. Those days are real, and Our Lady sees them. She sees the woman who woke up before sunrise because someone needed her. She sees the one who smiled through exhaustion because she did not want to burden anyone. She sees the one who kept going when every part of her wanted to stop. She sees the invisible labor, the silent sacrifice, the love that is given without measure and rarely acknowledged. And she says, I see you, and what you are doing is holy, because it is. There is holiness in the ordinary. There is grace in the routine. There is something deeply sacred about the woman who opens her home every morning as if she is opening a church, with care, with intention, with a prayer on her lips even if no one hears it. The woman who understands that a home filled with peace is a home filled with God, that a table set with love is an altar, that a child tucked in at night with a gentle word has been given something that will live inside them forever. This is what Proverbs 14:1 is pointing to. Not a standard to be met, not a burden to be carried alone, but a calling to be embraced with wisdom, which means knowing when to act and when to rest, knowing when to hold on and when to let go, knowing that building a home is not a task that ends but a practice that deepens, a daily choice to show up, even imperfectly, with love as the foundation. Our Lady, I ask you today to bless these hands, the hands that are tired, the hands that have given much and still have more to give, the hands that sometimes tremble with uncertainty but keep moving forward anyway. Bless the work they do that no one sees. Bless the love they carry that no one measures. Remind them, remind me, that every act of care offered from a sincere heart is a prayer in itself, because the wise woman does not build alone. She builds with faith beside her. She builds with Our Lady interceding for her. She builds knowing that the one who created the concept of home, who placed within each of us the longing for belonging, for warmth, for safety, is the same one who walks through the rooms of our houses and calls them good. So today, pick up your tasks not as burdens, but as offerings. Let every gesture of care be a quiet act of worship. Let every moment of presence be a brick laid with intention. Let every prayer whispered over your home be the mortar that holds it all together, because you are not just cleaning a house, you are building something eternal. Every home has a threshold, that narrow space between the outside world and everything you hold dear. A few inches of wood or metal that separate the noise, the rush, the weight of everything that exists beyond your door, from the warmth, the stillness, the sacred intimacy of what you have built inside. And every morning before that threshold is crossed by the day's demands, there is an opportunity, a window of grace, a moment to stand at the entrance of your own life and say with full awareness, this place is under God's care. That is what prayer does for a home. It does not change the square footage, it does not repair what is broken or erase what is difficult, but it shifts something in the atmosphere. It invites a presence into the space that no amount of decoration or organization can manufacture. Prayer is the act of acknowledging that we are not the sole guardians of what we love, that there is a love greater than ours watching over the same people we watch over, that the same Our Lady who stood at the foot of the cross, who did not run, who did not collapse, who remained, is the same one standing at the entrance of your home today, and she is not leaving. Think about what it means to have her intercession over your house, not as a superstition, not as a formula, but as a living, breathing reality of faith. Mary, who knew what it was to fear for a child. Mary, who knew what it was to hold a family together through uncertainty. Mary, who knew what it was to trust God when the circumstances made trust feel almost impossible. She knows your home. She knows its sounds and its silences. She knows the laughter that echoes through the hallways and the tears that fall behind closed doors. She knows the prayers you have prayed at midnight when no one else was awake. She knows the ones you could not even find words for, the ones that were nothing more than a sigh, a longing, a desperate reaching toward heaven. She received every single one of them. And this morning, as this new day opens itself before you like a blank page, she is here again, ready to walk through every room of your home with you, ready to bless the kitchen where nourishment is prepared, the living room where life is shared, the bedroom where rest is found, the doorway through which your loved ones pass every day, ready to cover with her mantle every corner that holds a memory, every space that carries a wound, every room that is still waiting to be healed. Let her in, not just into the presentable parts, not just into the tidy rooms and the moments when everything looks the way you wish it always did. Let her into the mess, into the complexity, into the parts of your home and your heart that you have not yet figured out, because that is precisely where her intercession is most powerful. Not in the perfection, but in the surrender. Not when everything is under control, but when you finally release the illusion that it ever was. Our Lady, I open the doors of my home to you today. Every door, every room, every hidden corner that I have been trying to manage on my own. I invite your presence into the spaces where tension lives, where misunderstanding has settled, where distance has grown between people who love each other but sometimes forget how to show it. Come into those places, bring your peace, bring your wisdom, bring the same gentle strength that carried you through every challenge of your own life, and let it breathe through the walls of this home. Protect what is here. Protect the innocence of the children who sleep under this roof. Protect the love between the people who share this space. Protect the dreams that are being quietly nurtured here, the ones not yet spoken aloud, the ones still forming in the hearts of those I love. Protect this home from division, from bitterness, from the kind of slow erosion that happens when life gets too loud and too fast and people stop truly seeing each other, and renew what needs renewing. Because every home, no matter how much love it holds, accumulates weight over time, the weight of unspoken words, the weight of unresolved conflicts, the weight of grief that was never fully mourned, of joy that was never fully celebrated, of moments that passed too quickly and left a quiet ache behind. Ask God today to move through this home like a gentle wind, clearing what needs to be cleared, softening what has grown hard, restoring what time and weariness have worn down. Let this home be a place where people heal, where children feel safe enough to be exactly who they are, where adults feel known and accepted without conditions, where the table is not just a table, but a place of real communion, where presence matters more than performance, where conversation goes deeper than schedules and obligations, where someone can look across the room and feel without a single word being spoken, I belong here, I am loved here, I am safe here. That is the home this prayer is building, not in one morning, not through one single act of devotion, but through the accumulation of days, of mornings offered to God before they are offered to anything else, of hands raised in quiet surrender before they are lowered into the work of the day, of hearts that choose again and again to make faith the foundation rather than the last resort. Our Lady, thank you. Thank you for the intercession that never sleeps. Thank you for the love that does not require us to be perfect before it shows up. Thank you for understanding what it means to carry a home in your heart, because you carried one too. A small, simple, imperfect home in Nazareth that became the dwelling place of the Son of God, not because it was grand, because it was consecrated, because the woman who lived in it chose, every single day, to make it a place where heaven felt welcome. That is the invitation for today. Make your home a place where heaven feels welcome. not through grand gestures or religious performance, but through the quiet, daily, faithful act of opening your door and your heart and saying, "Come in. This home belongs to you. And today I choose to build it with wisdom, with love, and with your grace as my guide." Amen. Before you go, leave the name of your family in the comments. We will pray together for every home represented here. If this prayer touched your heart, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new blessing. Like this video and share it with someone whose home needs this message today. You are not alone in this journey. Together we build stronger homes, one prayer at a time.